intense week. We're probably going to keep it a few minutes shorter today with Coach than we would in a normal week.
Yep.
Coach, if you want to go ahead and get started.
Yep. So obviously the game Monday night, had some time to reflect on it, make the corrections, and you guys were out there early part of practice and hearing the coaches reiterate all the things that we're focusing on, not hurting ourselves pre-snap. We spent a lot of time on the punt team as well this morning, and but tried to put the game Monday night to bed as fast as we could this morning, because we didn't get to meet with the guys yesterday because it was their off day, and then get into our opponent Saturday night, Western Carolina. So we've done that. We've moved on. I know there's going to be some questions about Clemson, but with us being 3 days away, there's a sense of urgency to get back in there and watch the film and get the rest of the stuff done. So I appreciate you guys being here.
Okay, well, enough for questions. Rod, if you want to get started.
Jeff, you had 17 transfers.
You have 17 transfers, and you got to evaluate them. What did you pick up on from them, once they got an initial game?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because that's a lot of things. We've got a bunch of new coaches that have got to experience a game day with the entire roster, and then some of us that have been here for a while, the new guys, that was our first time to see them in action on a really big stage, just to see what they do in those kind of environments. So I think it was a learning experience from everybody. And, a lot of the improvement that has to be done usually comes after that first week of live action. And there was no better venue and a great opponent to get that experience with. So now we've got to learn from it and move on a short week.
Kelly?
Obviously, you played at Western Carolina. You played in this game twice.
Yep.
In college. What is kind of the emotions like for you? I know it's a short week, so you probably aren't thinking about it as much, but like, just, kind of how does it feel? What are your thoughts playing your alma mater?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is just the, you turn on the film. We did a lot of work in summer scouting and saw what a explosive offense that they have. Really good skill players on the defensive side of the ball to do a lot of things. So the biggest focus for me is the Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket 2022 team against the Western Carolina team that's coming in here. Tremendous amount of respect for their coaching staff, tremendous amount of respect for their players. And, once you guys see them play, if you guys haven't already, they've got really good players across the board. We've got a very big challenge and, a short amount of time to get everything in to be ready to play at a high level Saturday night.
Okay.
If I can ask about the block punts, it looked like the first, at least, it was maybe a miscommunication of assignments. Is that accurate? Or
the first block?
Right.
No, I mean, I don't want to get too much into the scheme, but just didn't get it cut off on the backside. And then the second level person that's supposed to work inside out didn't. So really good play. Hats off to the kid from Clemson, finding his way and fighting his way through there. But we spent a lot of time working on that, and, need to be better.
I guess the way I look at it, it's a good thing that I think it's a correctable problem.
Right.
But I guess it's maybe not a great thing that it's a problem to begin with. Is that a reasonable way of looking at it?
I mean, it's just one of those things that happened. It was a live, really good player that was, going through the gap and just didn't use proper fundamentals and technique. And then the second level, the defender that was there wasn't able to clean it up. So unfortunate that it happened, but we got to move on from it. We got to correct it. We got to get better, on all of those things in all those areas.
Rod?
Naturally, when you play against a defensive line like Clemson, it's tough to get the running game going. I imagine that will be one of Coach Long's goals this week, is to get the running game on track.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the goal and the premise of everything that we do offensively, is to start with the run game. And you guys have been around Coach Key and know Coach Key as well. And, the pride that he has in running the football. And that's a staple of what we want to do, be physical, execute at a high level. And that includes the pre-snap things as well. And so got to get a lot of those cleaned up. Cannot have those kind of things happen against a front like that, or really against anybody.
I thought the game changed it was Clemson's second series in the third quarter. You get the PI on a play where it looked like they jumped, and then Charlie gets tossed later in the series with the targeting. Can you just talk about did you see an
Right.
issue there, and then also talk about Charlie and kind of how you guys adjust to that
Right.
now?
I mean, the biggest piece is just the fundamentals and technique, playing the ball with poise in the air to prevent any pass interferences. But anything that comes up from a officiating perspective, we send those in. And so I'll leave those conversations there. But just the fundamentals and technique and playing the ball in the air, we've got to get better so we don't get put in those situations. And then the same thing with the play with Charlie, obviously send those in, because the biggest thing, player safety. You guys have been around me. Player safety means a lot to me, and that's both sides of the ball. So whatever we can do when we send plays in, a lot of times it's for our knowledge so we can teach and make sure our guys are doing the right things for player safety, and so they don't get penalties, and so they don't get ejected. All of those kind of things are teachable moments. And there were some other plays too that we sent in just for our own knowledge. Why is this kind of play? Is there something we're missing? Is there something we can teach better? So we do that every single week. But that was a big series of events, and just finding ways to make sure we're helping ourselves in all those areas.
What should we look for from the Western Carolina offense? I imagine the ball will be in the air quite a bit.
Yeah, they're I think one of the top 10 offenses in all of college football last year, and I think they put up well over 600 yards this past week and over 50 points. So tremendous skill players, a quarterback that can do a lot of things, a big offensive line, and they've got a tight end and a running back core that has depth and has a lot of talent, a lot of speed. So they do a lot of formations, a lot of motions and shifts, and a bunch of layered routes. It's going to be a challenge, and so we've got to make sure that we're doing everything that we can in preparation, for all the things that they do us, and they've got really good players on top of the schematic things that they do really well.
I get asked this a lot, so I'll ask you to clear the record, I guess. You shuffled your staff, changed your alignments and stuff. Did you look at a lot of teams have gone with the special teams coach, with the 10th assistant? Was that something you considered at all when you were redoing your staff, and how did you kind of decide on how to allocate that?
Sure. And so that's a fair question. And then as we're going through the process, and David Turner was available and was able to join our staff. That was somebody that we knew had tremendous value from a defensive line perspective and to help the run game defense. And then the same thing, you look at the other side of the ball with Coach Winkie, having a quarterbacks coach that can help the development of that position, and then split up the special teams between Jason Seymour and Mike Daniels. Obviously, I'm heavily involved as well. And, so just the things that need to be cleaned up, we're all committed to doing that. And, I think one of the bright spots of the game, too, was Gavin Stewart. That one of the things in kickoff coverage is the fewer that you actually have to get on the ground, it makes your life a little bit easier. And I thought Gavin did a tremendous job in that way. Getting the kickoffs, cleared for us, and there was great effort down the field and all those kind of things. So we just got to continue to build on those.
Okay, time for a couple more.
If I could kind of follow up on that, obviously special teams is an area where I think you've tried to doing games that have build margin there. I'm curious with this team, how do you feel like you are in terms of what sort of advantage you can have on special teams, whether it's return game or field goal or whatever it is?
Just the biggest thing is the focus on what we have to do better every single day. We hit almost every single special teams today, which we typically don't do, but in a condensed week, we had to do it today. So we've got to focus on ourselves, put ourselves in the best position to play well in that area, and just know they've got really good players, across the board on their special teams units.
We'll take one from Rod and then one from Kelly to wrap this up.
Going back to the false starts, you mentioned crowd noise as part of the issue. Do you feel like maybe you had a lot of guys out there making their first starts? You had a big defensive line lining up across from them. Was that part of the issue, do you feel?
I don't want to give us an out or an excuse or anything like that. We just got to do better, play the situations with poise, and just make sure we're doing the right things pre-snap, the focus and the poise and all those things to make sure we're playing at a high level from that. And I'm sure there's a lot of factors that contribute, but we want to focus on the things that we can control with our guys. And our guys were great about it today. We were stemming and moving the front almost every play, just to create those kind of things. So we got to be better than that at him.
Coach, wrap this up.
As of now, the weather forecast is pretty lousy for Saturday. Is there anything different you do in terms of just game strategy if you know it's going to be wet, or
Right.
and kind of adjustments even defensively? I know it's harder to defend with cutting and trying to react to guys when
Sure.
when it's wet.
Yeah. Obviously there are. I don't want to give too many of those specifics away. But what we do, you guys were out there during preseason camp. I mean, that we had a lot. We had more weather and rainy days during preseason camp than I can remember in a long time. And if it was not lightning, we stayed out in it, just to try to have some semblance of preparation, because you never know when you're going to get those kind of days, and you want to make sure you have some banked reps toward that end. So we did that during preseason camp, and so obviously we're aware of it, and we'll make the necessary adjustments to give our guys the best chance to play at a high level against a really good team.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you taking the time during a short week.
KS 13.
Thank you, guys. So.